Rabina, and we're here to help enlighten you on how you can use appraisals as one of your value propositions in your business. I have been in this business for a really long time and seen a lot of the different markets come and go, but one thing I haven't ever really witnessed is real estate agents capturing the appraisal as an actual tool to help them get business, to help them with the client. And I think that we just have this mindset that it's a lender thing, we get scared, and so we want to talk about how you can do that today and some tips on when you're doing the appraisal or having to work with the appraiser, how you can have a successful experience. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, I don't have any appraisal issues right now. We have great values out there. This is a slam dunk. Well, I have to tell you, I think we all have seen it in the MLS. There are probably more price reductions now than there are new listings. And what that means is that we're having to bring our clients in balance with what's happening with the market. And some of them don't want to budge on it yet. They get angry. You get to come to them and have to be the bearer of bad news. And so sometimes it's nice to have someone in your pocket that's neutral, that's not getting paid based on what it's sold for, to tell them, look, you know, this is what's happening. But let's take a step back and let's just talk about 7 things you can do to even ensure a good appraisal, and then we're going to give you some solutions and some ammunition to add to your value proposition to your client. So most of the time when people think of appraisals, this is how they feel. Oh God, what's going to happen? Uncertainty. What are they going to do? Do they even know the area? You know, you feel frustrated, right? Who's had that experience? Oh, good. So we all have felt the same way. You know, they walk up to the door and you're assessing them. What do they know about the market, right? Well, we want you to feel like this. Yay! The appraiser's coming. They're going to help us. We can work together. And I know it seems like, well, how can you work together with someone that doesn't have an interest? Well, guess what? If you approach them in the right way, it can be helpful. And I'm going to show you how if we put the appraisal ahead of the process, this is the kind of outcome that you can have. So, we want celebration because that's was it making it rain? Is that what we call that?
Yes.
Making it rain? So, what you don't know is costing you time and money. All right? So let's start at the top. First of all, in order to succeed in the whole appraisal process, which I know you already do, so some of this you're going to be like, Jen, I got that, is watching the market trends. But really watching and educating your client. By the way, I know we have your listing coming up. Here's what I'm seeing. There are only 20 new listings, but 900 price reductions every day. Maybe we need to think about that as we're going forward. Maybe this is the time that we can capture a higher appraisal value if I can get you this higher price because we don't have appraisal issues right now. But guess what? It's going to flip because those things that are pricing lower is going to reset the market soon. So this is an education tool you can give to your client. And another thing you can do is, just so you know, who takes the calls and lets the appraiser in the house? You do. So when they call, ring, 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 you get to say, oh yeah, great, I'm going to get you in. By the way, what area do you specialize in? Oh, you're coming to Palmdale from Newport Beach? I'm going to call you back. I got to check on that time. Ring, ring, ring. Hi, lender. I need a different appraiser. I don't want this one. They're not in the area. You don't have to say why. You don't have to say anything else. So you do have some power there. You don't tell the appraiser that you're not having them come and that they don't know the area and that, because they're going to argue with you because, you know, but if you want someone and you have a neighborhood that's specific, it's a gated community, it's a special localized property, and you want someone local, just request it, they'll reassign, okay?
Can you request it from the get-go?
You can, but I would still, the thing is, management companies, a lot of times, they're making appraisers bid for the jobs these days. So, just so you know, they're going to the lowest bidder. The lowest bidder isn't always your best appraiser. You get what you pay for, right?
Yep.
You can have it fast, you can have it cheap, or you can have it good. You can't have all three, right? So just interview, and if they're local, I would say within 30 miles is acceptable. If they're coming up from maybe North Hollywood to here, they'd probably come a lot. Or just ask them, when's the last time you did an appraisal up here, just out of curiosity? They'll tell you, and if they do a lot and they drive in from somewhere, no big deal. So just use your judgment, okay? However, it really is up to you to prepare your client and to prepare help the appraiser before the site visit. The site visit is when we go to the property. 90% of the work is done before they get there. 90% of the work is done before they get there. If you have it listed, they're looking at the listing. They're looking at the pictures. They're looking at the Google Maps. They're making an opinion based on what they're finding, and they go to the property to confirm their opinion and to make sure that there's nothing that needs to be called out for health and safety purposes. So if you show up that day, loading them up with comps, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna throw in the backseat of their car because they're gonna work off what they have, all right? So prepare for the site visit. That also means, what are we mandated to have now in every bedroom and hallway? And guess what? Don't get mad at them when it's falling off the ceiling, because we have to take a picture. We have to give it, and it's not us, it's the underwriter, okay? That's because the bank doesn't want what? Liability. They don't want anybody to pass away in the house. And I can tell you personally, I used to think, what is the big deal? This is silly, until I heard about a case in Calabasas with an agent out of Rodeo Realty that they closed escrow. It was a divorced mom with 2 kids that moved into the house. The daughters, one of the daughters was sick and throwing up. She took her to the hospital, left the other daughter sleeping, and she came home, found her daughter passed away because the furnace was leaking gas. So it is serious, and I don't say that to scare you or shock you, but there is a reason it needs to be done. So tell your clients up front, get it done. Don't make us the bad guy on it, and save a retrip fee, because if it's not done, we have to come back, and that delays closing. So be prepared up front with smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and the water heater being strapped. Furthermore, how many do FHA? Are you still doing a lot of FHA right now?
Yeah.
Majority.
Okay, well then we have to talk about that list, right? Scaling paint, broken windows, rips in carpet, things like that. Now, every appraiser has a different threshold level on what should be called out, but just so you know, FHA is super strict, and here's the thing, they drive by. They drive by. Not everybody's, but they go in their pot, they pick some test ones, they drive by, and then what does the appraiser get in the mail if they see something that didn't get called out? They get a letter, they get written up, and they get cited, and if it happens again, they lose their status. So it's not the appraiser's fault that they had to call out the paint, but if you know you're gonna most likely get an FHA buyer, warn your client up front and just take it care of so you're not delaying closing. Who's had a major issue with the FHA repair that they didn't anticipate or they thought was unfounded? Just anybody? Yeah.
Yeah, but chip paint is usually the one that comes up a lot.
All the time. Also, security latches on windows. So if you have security windows, there has to be an emergency release latch in the bedroom unless there is an egress door. Okay?
What about the self-closing hinge on garage doors?
Yes, that should usually be called out. Sometimes the appraiser will miss it if they're going fast and they don't really look at it, but yes, self-closing on the garage door, solid core, it's a firewall.
Is that only for FHA or is that conventional too?
FHA calls it out. Conventional, we just stick with the basics. Some lenders are more sensitive to scaling paint. If there is an excessive amount, we will a lot of times just say, we're not asking for a repair, but we're noticing this, and as a part of it's, the condition has this deferred maintenance.
What about the self-closing garage doors?
Not unconventional.
What if it's an owner occupied loan, conventional loan though? Would it still apply?
I usually don't call it out.
Got it.
It is important. It's not mandated, yes.
What about chipping stucco at the very bottom of the, next to
The
the
sprinklers hit it.
Yes.
It's part of it's attached to the paint. So the whole paint issue is lead-based paint. That's why, right? That's why they're so sensitive, no matter what the year of the house. And I know a lot of you have newer builds, but they don't care. They treat everything the same. What about a backyard that looks like a junkyard? That's an issue. Who deals with septic? So please try to identify where the septic tank is, because we actually have to show it on the sketch and measure the distance of where it is from the house. It's a thing. So that is really important. Also, if you have solar, we need the information on the solar. Is it leased? Is it owned? What is the lien on it? They want to know this information. What else? Propane, even that, it's super important. So if you have a property that has these elements to it, it's really important that if it's not already outlaid in the MLS, that you communicate it to the appraiser up front to help make the process move faster. But yeah, FHA, you're not gonna get away. They check it, so there's just no way around it. So prepare for that site visit. Next, I know you wanna see another client, but take the time to meet the appraiser. You are gonna get better service from them if you show up, because they know that, oh, this person's really gonna look at this. They care, number one, it sends a message, right? Number two, you can tell them the information that only you know, because this is your market. By the way, the one that sold across the street, yeah, they had 30 cats, and of course they didn't say that in the MLS, and it smelled really bad, and that's why it sold for that. Guess what? We love that information. Somebody asked me, do you walk through every house that you use as a comp? And I'm like, oh my gosh, as if we could. That would be amazing, but guess who does walk through every house? You guys do. So share that information. If there's some weird comp that is just needs to be, don't hide it, because guess what? We see it, and the bank is going to say, these are all great. I know you have 10, but why is this? What's up with this one? Because they're trying to mitigate and reduce risk. So just say, give them the story. That's all they need to do. Great, thanks. We get it. That was that situation. So take the time, meet them, walk them through, and make sure they don't have any questions. Sometimes they just can do it quickly and get out. You can just do your emailing, but while you're waiting, but meet them. It sends a message. Also, come prepared. And I should have even put, send this right after you book the appointment. So you get your call, you book your appointment for the appraiser, great, they're coming, send them the comps immediately, and then make sure they get them. They're super busy. Appraisers are usually making appointments while they're driving, and then they work at night. So just make sure that they got it, and make sure that they're relevant. And I don't have it broken down, but would you like to know what are considered relevant comparables from a bank standpoint? Not from a real estate standpoint, because we know that it's a little bit different mindset. Do you guys know?
Insured.
What do you think it is? What do you think that we look for?
Same age,
Age, great.
within what, 5 years older or newer.
Okay, that's a good one. What else?
Square
Does
footage?
Square footage,
square footage. What's the range though?
100 square feet?
15%.
about 15%.
Okay, so age is we absolutely want to compare apples to apples whenever possible, and I say whenever possible because sometimes you might have a property in development Nothing is sold. You're in the first sale for a year, and the next one's 40 years old, and you're brand new built. That's really not apples to apples, but we have to use what we got, right? So the best case scenario is a perfect model match. After that, you go a little bit bigger, and you expand until you get there. So yes, within the newer build, within 15 to 25% square footage ratio is really important.
Distance from the property?
And one more time?
The distance from the property?
Yes, what would you say is reasonable?
I typically go a mile.
Okay, so with anything over a mile, we have to explain why. So maybe you're in a community where everything's an acre. You're gonna be over a mile within a few blocks, right? So you have to remember this underwriter could be in Texas, could be in Chicago. They don't know your neighborhood. So the appraiser has to write a story explaining and framing the community as well. So yes, so we try to stay within a mile as a standard. Also, we want to compare apples to apples with bedroom and bathroom count. You know, do you think a 2-bedroom, 1-bath is the same as a 4-bedroom, 3-bath? It's not the same buyer. So we really try to keep that the same. One of the things that I always get a little bit like, really, is when I meet a realtor who says, well, this house is 3,000 square feet, and the one next door sold for this, and it was only 8,000. Like, this is not the same buyer, not the same house. Just because that one, it's not even, can't even compare it, even though it's right next door. Also, if you have a property with external issues like power lines, near the freeway, who knows? You know all the scenarios. Just make sure the comparables you pick offer something similar to the property. Yes.
How much do you guys use in age difference, let's say more than 5 years? How much do you value a property for a holder or appreciate a property based on a very comparable?
So that depends, because who has ever sold a property that was probably built in the 40s that was completely gutted and looked like a brand new property?
Yeah. So the effective age becomes different.
Exactly. So there's something that's called effective age. So as long as the neighborhood is similar, a lot of times we may not adjust at all. We try not to adjust for age unless we have to, because it's hard to quantify. We try to stick with things like condition, amenities like pool, bed and bathroom count and square footage, those type, and location, because those are easy to quantify. When you start adjusting by age,
So let's say I find like a property is built in the 2000s and I find another one that was built in the 50s. If the conditions are similar, it's a comparable?
it can be used as a comparable if everything else is the same and the neighborhoods are competing.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole because you don't need to become appraisers today. I'm just saying be mindful when you're pulling comps that they're truly comparable and you're not just cherry picking the highest ones and saying, but wait, there's comps there. One of the other things you need to keep in mind, which I probably if you already experienced over the last 6 months with all this crazy appreciation, is who had an appraisal come in short, maybe January, February, earlier this year, right? Because you were setting market value. So a lot of times we'll go to a property and they'll say, well, but we sold, and then this one, price per square foot, it would be the same. It doesn't work that way. In order to determine a value, they are not going to give you a value higher than the highest sale that they can use in their report.
We're starting to do PPOs more now again, so what, on square footage, if you have a house that's 200 square feet bigger, 100 square feet bigger, are you using like $45 a square foot, or what's kind of your number now? Is there
It depends on the neighborhood, there's no set.
if it's in, so different neighborhoods would be different?
It ranges anywhere, depending on where we're appraising. I guess we could go as low as 45, I haven't done that in a while, up to 300. You know, if you're in a high-end neighborhood.
How far back do you go as far as days sold?
So first of all, we'd like to be as recent as possible for obvious reasons. I mean, even the comp that sold last month is already old now, right? So as recent as possible. The standard is no more than 6 months, but we usually start even recently doing time adjustments
Right.
for anything over even 3 months.
Because of the shift.
Yeah, and that was up even when it was up, and then now it's going the other way. So we don't like to do time adjustments, but when we have enough data to show it, we use CoreLogic's statistics for that. Okay, so that's a good place to go to get that statistics. So, but let me keep buzzing along here because I don't want to take up your whole day. And then just a gentle reminder, and I know you know this already, check with your loan officer before you remove your loan contingency. Just because the appraisal came back doesn't mean the bank's going to accept it.
Really?
It has to go through underwriting, and sometimes it goes through a review process, and then they have conditions that they throw back on the appraiser, and sometimes they even ask for a second report. So I would just give you a line of caution. You're like, the appraisal came back, yes, let's sign it off. Just take a beat, double check until your loan officer says we are cleared on the appraisal, okay? Especially in time of a shifting market, with interest rates all over the place, you might need that safety net to get your client out of the deal, okay? What else? And ask for help. When you're like, okay, this is out of control, I don't know what to do, I have this possible listing, ask for help. And that's what we're here to talk about, how we can help you today. So you can be Superman or Superwoman, right? You're the hero in this story. So be the hero. How do you do that? We have 2 different products that we offer, okay? We don't just do appraisals for lenders, although God love them, they kept us very busy, but we actually prefer to work for just regular people. They're so much nicer than underwriters. Is that just us? They drive you crazy too? God, I just can't say. Every time we're like, ugh, and they email this again. So here's, I told you about the ammunition you could put in your tool belt to give you value proposition to your clients. And this is gonna take being open-minded, okay? Thinking differently. And if there's ever a time to think differently, I think it's right now. So as you're encountering your sellers that are wrestling with the fact that they missed the height of the market and they're still crying about it or denying it, whatever it is, you know, why don't we start by putting the end first? Let's just get a valuation, okay? Let's see what the bank would give you. And this would offer you a couple different things. We can then help us align expectation where you're not having to be the bearer of bad news, even though you already know the truth. It will also help you maybe determine a list price or get you closer to the list price that you want. We also have on this valuation that's specifically for realtors to use on their listings, a list of all of the positives of the property, because we always want to tell them the positives, and then the things that are going to impact the property, like those tandem bedrooms that they think are just okay, or that the avocado trees that they think are going to give them an extra $10,000 and nobody cares about it. So, you know, we give them the positives, and then we tell them, these are your challenges, because they don't always want to look at the challenges, because sometimes it's hard for us to be like, yeah, your kitchen sucks, right? But it does. Also, we also give you a list of repairs that if they did them could capture that higher price. You know, if you just painted this, cleaned up this, and did the landscaping, these don't have to be tear down the house and rebuild it. You could probably get a better price, which would then be in conjunction or support what you probably already told them. And then when they go, yeah, you told me this, you're like, yeah, I know, look, it's right here in writing. So, giving you all of this ammunition to say, I'm not just the only one saying it, here's someone that isn't going to make any money off of this that is supporting what we're talking about. Now, wouldn't this also be useful in a changing market if you had people that were trying to start to lowball you and say, look, we got an appraisal last week, and I know the market's adjusting, but you just gave me $100,000 less than it. Come on, dude. Like, really? We're gonna argue over this? This is something you can actually give to a buyer and even give to the appraiser, because now you don't have to do the homework when it sells and say, oh, by the way, I had an appraisal last month, got you covered, got the sketch, you're good. Do you know how much they would love that? And guess what? If they get another appraisal, they're gonna look at it and they're probably gonna use a lot of it because appraisers are busy and they don't mind if someone else does their homework. Do you think that this would be a value add to your clients? Do you think that this could make you the hero? Absolutely. But we have to think of it differently. We have to do it up front. So working in conjunction. So this is one thing we have is called a pre-sale valuation. We can curtail it and curate it for whatever you like. We don't need it measured. Oh, by the way, forgot to add. Who's been selling properties with ADUs? Anybody? Whose owner thinks the square footage of the ADU is supposed to be in with the house? So they're going online going, well, my house is 3,000 square feet, although the front house is only 1,200, and they're thinking their house is a different value. Well, guess what? It doesn't work that way, and this helps them highlight and understand the bank isn't going to look at it that way either. Okay? So those are all huge factors. So if you have a property with a lot of amenities or outbuildings and you're having a hard time pricing it, this is something that we can help you with and align expectation with your client so you don't have to be on the market for 180 days. Also, it's not here yet, but I can tell you that I see a time coming where there might be some appraisal rebuttals that need to be written. Who's ever had a rebuttal on appraisal? I know, and usually, you know, I have to tell you, I added this in when we were like, okay, how can we add more value to our agents? Since, let's face it, you guys are gonna be saving us in this market. It's the bottom line, you're gonna be saving us in this market. And I thought back and I'm like, you know, I get calls all the time from agents that are like, can you review this report, or loan officers, the appraiser just was lazy, or I don't know what they were doing, can you tell me, are they even accurate? And a lot of times we can go through and analyze and pull out and explain some of the comps, why they shouldn't have been used, or provide comparables that should have been used, okay? Which if you do the step A, you probably won't need this, you know, majority of the time. But they can go back and actually write, we write the rebuttal on your behalf and on your client's behalf and on the lender's behalf because they don't know how to speak appraiser speak. And I have to tell you, 9 times out of 10, we get our value. You have to approach it very carefully because you have to remember appraisers have egos and it is their opinion, right? So when you contest it, you're saying you don't know what you're talking about. So how you approach them has to be in a way that helps them save face and have them want to give you the value, right? And it's a very, very nuanced process and a way to do it. And we know how to do it because we have the egos, we're the appraisers. We understand how to talk to us. So, does anybody think that this could be a value proposition you could use ever? Okay, excellent, excellent. So, a couple last minute little things. This is our information. Like I said, we don't just do appraisals for loans, but yes, we do. We do them for probates. We do them for trusts. We do them for divorces. We do them for you. We do them for, you know, estates. A lot of you have probably done a lot of probates in this last year. Who's done a probate? So is everyone familiar with the stepped-up basis? I'm going to make you a double hero today. I'm going to make you a double hero. Okay, so here's how you can immediately be a hero. When you have a family that is dealing with a probate, they're inheriting a property, there's something called capital gains based on what they purchased the property for, which who knows, 1970 for $50,000, that's now worth what, 500? So there's 450,000 technically in capital gains that's gonna get assessed. But guess what? Since Uncle Joe passed away July 1st, they can do a valuation that says the value of his day of passing and protect all that equity from before the day of passing, and they only are responsible from the day that he passed until the day they sell it. And magically, we usually get a high enough number to cover it.
Nice.
It is the #1 secret that that as realtors will make you so powerful. So next time you're going on a listing appointment or you're talking to somebody about someone's uncle's brothers that passed away, oh, do they know about the stepped-up basis? What's that? What's that? And you say, oh, you need to protect your equity because guess what? The tax day is coming.
It's called a stepped up basis.
It's getting the value for the stepped-up basis. And that's something we do all day long and twice on Sunday. You can call us, we'll do the valuation. A lot of times realtors I work with, they say, look, I'm gonna go ahead and pay, as part of my listing package to you, I'm gonna take care of it.
What do you charge for an appraisal?
For our base fee's $350.
Okay.
So we'll take care of it, I'll take care of it for you, and we'll make sure that we're gonna protect. Now, if they're picking between you and the realtor that doesn't know about stepped-up basis, they're gonna protect their investment, don't you think they already know that you're better? Exactly, exactly. So, those are all the tricks I have in my bag today, and I wanted to end it by asking if you had any questions. But before we do you guys think this was helpful?
Yes.
Yay, are you gonna sell more houses?
Yes.
All right, yay, good, because you guys have to bring us back in this market.
For the sake of time, let's just do 2 questions.
Sure,
So that way we can still jump into everything else.
sorry, I know you have
No, it's
awards.
all right.
Go ahead, 2 questions, yes.
This might be a hard one. You were saying as far as ADU and sellers not adding the square footage to the house, what is a quick and easy way as realtors can use to help add value if we're having a hard time finding another comp that has an ADU?
Well, I mean, I guess you can't squeeze blood out of the turnip if it's not there. We just keep expanding this criteria until we find something. Meaning further back. If it's needing to stay in the neighborhood, we would go back as far as we could. We can also use actives and pendings as a comparable if it's the only one. We like a closed sale, but if the only thing we have is actives or pendings, that's what we would lean on.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, one more.
I know it's a big topic. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't see anybody asking. Do you guys never use sold price per square foot as adjustments?
It is one of 20 adjustments that we make. So when people say, oh, the average price per square foot in my neighborhood is this, I look at them like, hey, because it doesn't count for view, it doesn't count for lot size, it doesn't count for condition, it doesn't count for amenities, it's too broad. It's too broad. So, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I apologize. Does anybody want us to stay around to ask questions later? Or we'll hang out a little bit on your desk. There's a card. You can scan that QR code. It goes to our website. If you have any questions, our contact information is on there. I'm Jen. This is Rubina. Can't wait to work with you
Thank you.
guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jen. We really appreciate it. Yeah, sure. Sounds good. All right, I got a question for you guys. We're a little bit behind. Do we want to stay an extra maybe 10 minutes so that way we can play Price is Right? Yes?
Yes.
I'll be as quick as I can. I just want to make sure. I have your permission to be maybe 10 minutes late. We're good with that. No, I'll come back to that. We're skipping all sorts of stuff today.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
guys.
fine. Don't worry about it. They're tired of hearing that stuff anyways. This is good.
Get to the money.
Well, sorry, you guys don't get celebrated. We'll come back to you next week. All right, Shawnee, come on up here. Let's play some Price is Right. Woo!
Okay, so Price is Right. Remember, it's the closest to the actual house price, and these are.
She's like, I appraised that one.
And no help. And 2 weeks. So the first one that we have on the market is in Roseman. It was 3
You didn't sell
bedrooms,
this one, Jessica?
2 baths, built in 1995, 1,600 square feet on 11,000 square foot lot. Now there's a palm tree.
Is that carpet?
Added value. I'm just.
I'm
Real,
gonna
palm trees
defer
are
to
expensive.
Rubina.
With a pool.
Pool's nice.
Pool is nice.
All right, what do you guys got?
All right.
What are our prices? 430? What do you got on Zoom? 450, 369, 449, 425, 490, 450, 430, 420, 450, 419, 420. There's a lot of 420s. Realtors picking 420, we're 425, 500, 500. I guess. I don't want to, I'm not playing today. Come on, Sherry. All right, actual retail.
425.
4. We got 3 winners? 3 winners? What about on Zoom? Anyone on Zoom? 435. I think so. 3 winners. You win a $5 gift card to Starbucks or $10 $5.
Have to go get more, that was so good.
It's enough to get you half a drink of Starbucks.
All right, the second one is
Ooh.
West Lake Pastor.
2 garage. What is going on there?
4 bedrooms, 3 baths, built in 2008.
3,500 square.
3,500
Wow.
square foot home, 19,795
That's a big lot, too.
watts.
Gated. Is that gated?
I don't think that's I don't think that's.
Go to the first one, because you know we're kind of quicker happy.
That's 30 in the
Ah.
All right.
That's Quartz Hill.
Again.
That's gotta be Quartz Hill. Gotta be Quartz Hill. Gotta be Quartz Hill. I don't remember a 3-car separate garage like that. I can't remember that model. Where is that?
Go back to the aerial view real quick. The one where it was like in the backyard.
All right, let's see those guesses.
835.
835, 685, 590, 699, 620,
On Zoom, 745, 845.
695, 655.
Oh, that's 66 right
Y'all way too low. I bet like I'm saying like 740 at least. So people on Zoom are higher. I just made a lot of people change. I don't know what they are. So, all right, let's see it. Actual retail price. 709. 699. 699. Anyone closer? 700. 700.
Anybody over 700?
700. Going once? Nobody else got it? Yeah. All right, last one. 709. That's not bad.
All right, last one today, and I'll have to go get more gift cards because it's going to wipe me out on the first one. West Lane Pastor, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, built in 2005, 3,000 square foot RV parking on a 10,000 square foot lot. Nice.
Everyone's like,
It's
eh.
clean.
Everyone's like, eh. Oh.
With pool.
Oh, they got their safety gate up. Or is that off like Avenue K or something? K and J?
40th.
All right,
On 60th, yeah. 60th or 40th?
40th, I feel like. Why is there?
I'm saying 60th. All right, what do you guys got?
Okay.
660,
Got 7,
640, 645. Some of y'all printed this house more than the last house. You're crazy.
You never know.
The last house had 2 separate garages. 675, 585. We got on Zoom. 685, 665, 609, 680. All right.
All right, are we ready? Actual retail price is
645. 640, 645 exactly. 645 exactly. John's like, I showed it 4 times.
All right, guys, as always, thank you. And as we know, going into this market shift, on check on the contract every time, even on the buyer side, it's really helpful. So we appreciate all your support. If you guys need anything, just let us know.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, guys, let's jump to the alarm, see what's going on in the market, big and across the nation, and what's going on locally. All right, first things first, interest rates. As of the first of the month, they were at 5.66. Where are they at today?
6.25.
Close, right? Right? We're all right in that range. What happened? What happened last week? Why? They didn't really like what really happened? The consumer price index came out, right? What happened? Oh, it's high again. We thought it was going to go lower. Big surprise. But hey, let's keep giving out that money. All right, so as of Thursday, today, the current average rate for 30-year fixed mortgage was 6.43, increasing 24 basis points from a week ago. If you're in the market from a mortgage refinance, the national 30-year fixed rate is 6.42, rising 23 basis points. And a 15-year fix is at I can't believe a 15-year fix is at 5.66. What do we keep saying? What do we keep saying? Is that up to date?
Yeah, because they raised the interest rates yesterday.
As of September, what's today?
Yeah,
6.6.
Today's the 26th? Today's the 22nd? I think it's up to date. I could be wrong, but I might have taken this from Google like an hour ago. All right, so
You might have.
I might have. No promises.
Close enough.
So what do we keep saying? What do we keep watching? Consumer Price Index, right? Consumer Price Index. Keep an eye on that. Why?
Is it still high? They're gonna keep hiring interest rates?
What's the only thing really besides like war or takeover? The biggest threat to democracy is what? Hyperinflation. Hyperinflation, right? There's only two things the government could do to stop this. What is it?
stop spending money.
Stop spending money. Well, yeah, they're not going to do
That's never
that.
gonna happen.
Stop printing.
Increase rates.
So they're not going to stop printing money. What they're going to do, they're going to stop everyone stop spending money by keep increasing rates. They could legislate out of it, which takes a lot of time and people to agree, which they won't do, or they could raise rates. So they're going to keep raising rates. So until you see that consumer price index tip and come down, rates are going to keep going up. What did we say 6 months ago could happen? We said rates, I wouldn't be surprised if rates got to 8, 9, even 10, if the consumer price index, they'll do whatever they have to do to keep going. We will see this to continue until that inflation stops. All right? So what is the mortgage rate projections for August? And this is what they're looking at. So we talk about, the government will actually cause the government will actually stop spending. What does that make what does that make everything do?
What?
Makes everything stop, right? So what happens to the nation? What are we going to?
Recession.
Recession. It's almost caused, right? We're almost forcing the recession because we need inflation to stop. What does the government do to get us out of recession?
Lower rates.
They lower rates. At least they have the last 6 times we've been in recession if we look back at history, correct?
Right.
So what do we expect to happen over the next year and a half at the most? The rates will probably be lowered. But what does that look like? Is it going to go up to 10% and then lower it down to 6? Maybe, right? We don't know what that at full extent will look like. But all we can do is look back at the history. Every single time we've gone into recession, the longest recession, 2006, it actually started, finished up end of 2007. The official recession, with GDP being lower for 2 consecutive quarters, was 18 months long. Then the government started what? They started lowering rates to get the economy going. So we could expect, that's why they're expecting the rates to be lowered over the next quarter 4, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and actually coming back down, right? I think that's pretty aggressive what they're expecting. NAR being the highest at 6%, and they haven't done their quarter 3 projections yet. I wouldn't be surprised if it's much higher, but we'll see what actually happens. We're just going to keep an eye on it, okay? So actual projections here, this is from Freddie Mac. So you look at 2016 rates all the way to 2021, our rates being really, really low, kept the economy going really, really high, and then we have COVID, right? Fun stuff. Now we keep raising rates to stop this inflation. They expect it to hit this peak. They keep expecting also for the consumer price index to be turning the corner, and yet that hasn't happened. So last time we looked at this, it was flat. And they already added a little peak from the last month. So we'll keep looking at it, we'll keep paying attention. Interest rates probably aren't going to get better anytime soon for us, right? We might look in 2 years. So this is some of the strategies in making sure you're being the economist of choice. We've talked about in Shift, talking about a 2-to-1 buy down for rates, and having that being a strategy that you might want to use because we expect rates to be lower in 2 years. We can't guarantee it, but if they could have 2 years of a lower rate, then refinance into something cheaper, right? These are options. These are things that we need to be talking about and understanding. If you don't know what a 2-to-1 buy down is, make sure you come to all the classes because we've been talking about it for a lot. All right, appreciation slowing, not depreciating. So we'll go into our numbers here in just a few minutes, but you can see we are still accelerating on our average sales price. Prices are still going up year over year, right? Year over year, we're still up. As of July, it's 15.8%. Prices have still gone up. Now we're starting to see that curve, right? If you guys have a lot of listings, your prices are not the top of the market anymore. We're starting to go the other direction. But for the year to date, we are still up. And we'll go into our, anyone know what our local number is?
For the medium risk?
Median. How much up the median sales price is for the year?
Oh, up, how much it's up?
Yeah, year to date. We'll get to it. We'll come back to it. But you can see it's an average, right? We're at 15.8%.
I think the average is 4.7.
So annual home prices growth slowed for the third consecutive month in July, but remained elevated at 15.8 as 30-year fixed rate mortgage neared 6%. This summer, some prospective home buyers pulled back, helping ease overheating and unsustainable price growth. Looking ahead, CoreLogic expects to see a more balanced housing market, with year-over-year appreciation slowing to a 3.8% as of July 2023. What's the magic number homes appreciate year over year since the beginning of time?
4%.
4%. You could draw a line from whatever year ever to today, and it almost follows the line exactly. In fact, if you drew it from 2006, and you'll see how high it was a huge dip. If you just went 4%, 4%, 4%, we've actually passed the 4%. So even if you bought a rental property the day before the market crashed in 2006, in 2007, it is still was a good investment, 4% return year over year over year over year. They're just expecting it to come back down to more balanced over that time. Make sense?
Yep.
What have we been at? Yes.
20%.
Yes. Unsustainable, right? Craziness. Okay, many experts raise home pricing forecast. January forecast 2022, home price appreciation compared to the latest forecast. So they're actually raising, which is surprising, the forecast for home pricing appreciation over time. Even NAR, which I feel like is normally a little bit more conservative than the other ones, is still conceding that depreciation is going to last throughout the year. Why is that? Why are home prices still going up even though we're all still feeling the shift? Supply, right? There's still a massive lack of supply. We are headed the other direction, but we are still very much in a seller's market because we don't have supply across the nation. Obviously, guys, our area is different. This is across the nation. This is macro. You know, obviously we know our area at a high level, but we do fall in the line a little bit lower than that 9%. Home pricing forecasts for 22. This is just what they're seeing with the prices they see to a raise year over year. If you average them together, about 11 to 12%. Okay, affordability at historic low levels. Who was here when we did the affordability index for local? Was I the only one? I was here, I taught it. What, do you remember what it was for us? No? Just a bad student. It was about 88%, okay? So what is the affordability index, right at 100, right? 100 is where you want where houses are affordable to what people make. Basically, you take what the average income is for an area, minus 20% for a down payment, what their mortgage they could afford, and if it comes out to that price, that would be what things were affordable. You'll notice things were much more affordable over this time period. Interest rates being really low help with affordability, correct? Right? Obviously in 2009, 2010, 2011, everyone could buy a home. Like it was very affordable. Prices were very low, right? So wages affect this. Wages going up does help with affordability. Houses being cheaper, interest rates, all affected. For the first time since 1990, we are below as a nation the affordability index, meaning the houses are not affordable for where we're at. Does that make sense? So more people can't afford the homes in the areas that they're looking. Okay? And ours locally is about 88. As of whenever we taught that class, about, when did we do that? A month ago, 2 months ago?
A month ago.
Okay. Compared to 1 year ago, the monthly mortgage payment rose to $1,944 from $1,265, an increase of 53%.
Wow.
That is why buyers are slowing down, right? The affordability, when interest rates jump up to 6.5%, 7%, when they were getting 3, Makes a massive, massive difference. If you attended Shift, and we talked about this coming, we talked about strategies to get in front of this with what? Seller credits. Do a buy down. Buy down the rate. Do it at 2-to-1 buy down. I walked in here and there was a lender had a paper on here with his 2-to-1 buy down calculator. He must have been teaching something. And I was laughing. I was like, we talked about this 2 months ago. Right? Being the voice of, you could still get this payment way down for the next 2 years, banking on the history of the United States when we go into a recession. To get out of it, they lower rates. So we're in the recession, right? To get out of it, they're going to have to lower rates. So hopefully those rates will come back down and be more affordable. Or just make more money. So simple. Monthly mortgage payment increases. So this is just over time. You can see how it's skyrocketed in the last 3-4 months. Directly coordinated with the prices still going up and interest rates going up. Okay? Make sense? Feeling good about yourselves yet?
I feel good. Na, 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 na,
He
na.
feels good, right? So right, in the shift tactics, what we taught, guys, we said that it's going to slow down and it's going to be twice as hard to get the same amount of business. And that's why we've been pushing Ignite, pushing Bold, pushing you guys to get into productivity and get going with your database and making sure you're out there working. NAR expects about 25% of realtors not to be in the business this time next year. 25%, that's 400,000 real estate agents that will not be in the business. Some of us are like, thank God. Oh, I hope it's that person or that person because they suck, right? But I don't want it to be you guys. So please get your butts into action because everything has been saying what we've been saying for the last year. But many of us haven't been doing anything, okay? So median household income versus qualifying income. So this is across the U.S. Basically, you need to make a household income of $91,000 to be able to afford a home. The affordability is $93,000. So across the United States, most people don't afford the basic home in their area. Northeast, Midwest, South, all pretty, oh, dang. That's us, right? So we, our average affordability, or average what we make is $98,000. Obviously, guys, we're in the Antelope Valley, and we're taking in places like Malibu and the cities. So we're not going to be as hit as in here. But 141,000 is the affordability index, right? For what you can do to buy a home, what you need to make to buy a home in the average, and we're at 98,000 in the West. And this translates, I'll keep going into it, but let me read this real quick. We are in a place where strategy discussions and planning are critically important to make sure we can thrive during these challenging times. Stay nimble, stay informed, and remember, housing is traditionally one of the first sectors to slow as the economy shifts, but is also one of the first to rebound because we're directly reflected with interest rates. Right?
Yep.
Make sense? Get the big picture?
Yeah.
Alright. Did I skip it? I must have skipped it. Basically on the West, guys, the West is down 30% overall. Maybe it's coming up. I think I put it in here. Alright, let me skip that. So you also, existing home sales since 2014. Obviously we have the ebb and flows of our real estate, right? Existing home sales, know that in 2021 was the most home sales ever. 2020 was the second most. So we are down quite a bit. It was 6.1, I want to say 6.1 million sales, and we're closer to about the 5.5, 5.4. It's still one of the best years ever in real estate, projected, right? Still in the top 4 in sales ever. So things are still selling. Yes, it's slower, but it's still moving. It isn't here. Okay, existing home sales year over year by region. So we talk about the West being hit the most, right? Why is that? Things are less affordable with interest rates. Less people could afford to buy a home. Okay, make sense?
Which is why we're seeing 22.5% of the listing doing price reductions in LA.
Oh, it's more than that now. I think
That was the last
closer.
statistic. That was the last statistic. 22% of the homes that are listed.
Just local in Gavar, if you just pull up it yourself, I did this about 2 weeks ago. I looked at, for the 2 week span, how many price reductions happened versus how many are on the market. It was like 40-something% of the homes.
Oh, Galmar.
Yeah, locally.
Yeah, locally.
Existing home sales. So you'll see, guys, these are trending for the last 3 years. Remember, these last 2 years are the best 2 years ever. Ever. Right? So we are trending, we are on pace, trending down, trending down, trending down, way trending down, way trending down. August, when it's not here yet, but August was one of our slowest months I've ever seen in this office with house sales, number of units sold, right? So we expect that to continue into September, and we'll see how we go in October, November, December, depending on what happens with interest rates. Typically when these spikes happen, things slow down, and it settles out, and we continue to move forward. So total home sales in the thousands. We're quite a bit lower here in July, just following the same pace over previous years, where we were on pace in the beginning of the year. Many of us might be feeling that we're still making more money, and that may be true. Why?
Prices.
Prices have been better. Volume was still up year over year, meaning that we've sold more volume. The house I sold last year for $450,000, this year I sold for $500,000. That nets me more money, but I might have sold one less home, right? Units is what we need to keep an eye on, because on this price, we can't control price, but we can control units. Okay? Pending home sales, so 100 equals historical healthy levels. As we just dip behind that in pending home sales, something to keep an eye on. It's still too early to kind of see what's going on, but we are peaking underneath that. Obviously, we throw away COVID because that was a V-shaped recovery. But since 2014, we've dipped a little bit there. But we got to keep an eye on, see what's going on with the pendings, to see where we're going to be at. So pending home sales, the 30% less, also the 30% less sales, we're just seeing that trend continue. It's not like we're seeing an uptick from the west. It looks like we're going to continue on that path over the next month or so. Mark's taking a picture.
I got that.
Are we gonna get these slides?
You get them every week, every month. Yeah, Mike sent them out. Change in the home prices, year over year, 20 city composition. We just want to look over this year, the change in the home prices, right? So we talked about unsustainable growth with the housing prices going up and 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 craziness, crazy land. Like COVID happened, everyone's like, let's move and spend all our money, woo! And it got crazy, right? So what happens when you see a quick sharp peak? Typically you see a drop. So we'll see how far that drops. Nobody knows. There's so many people that are predicting, experts. Nobody knows. Nobody can predict anything. Nobody predicted COVID. You don't know for certain, right? So we just keep an eye on it. We just know what's going on, and we just form our best educated opinion, and we go from there. All right, months over months inventory. So inventory has been an all-time low, which is really crazy. It's like, how can we have such low inventory if we're going into a recession? But we are picking up quickly. So let's keep an eye on that. See what that looks like over time. Obviously, year-over-year inventory levels, this is the first time in a long time where we've actually going up towards inventory levels. Home showing activity slows as buyer demand continues rebalancing from historic highs. So obviously in the West, it's been hit the hardest. Showing time is owned by Zillow, and that's why they keep track of all this data, and they know how many houses are being shown by buyers. They keep track of this through their data, and they show that the West is being hit by far the hardest, looking about like the difference in the average price to what people make. Okay? So let's jump in locally. So we talked about numbers of listings locally. To active listings, we're just keeping the same track. To sold listings, we keep going up, 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 almost to 1,200 active listings, which is a lot more than the 300 we had at this time last year. Okay? Listing price. You'll see the active median listing was still on an up from last year. We're still much higher than we were. The sold median price, though, is creeping down, almost lower than last year. All right, so we're starting to feel that peak, right? We've been above almost all year from where we were, but we're starting to peak back down the other direction. Our absorption rate, we talk about this a lot, how many homes that we have on the market. We are creeping up to 2.5. That's still a seller's market. We still don't have a lot of homes on the market. This was back 2016, 17 levels, even up to the 3s, but we're keep going that same direction. Typically, this is still a pretty hot season, and we've been creeping up quicker through August and July and June, which you do see more people put their houses on the market, but you also see more home sales. Big difference is we're not seeing as many home sales. So that just keeps going up. Sold to list price ratio. Being over 100 is the stupidest thing I've seen ever, and I kept saying how dumb this was. It's crazy. We're at 102% September of last year. Now we're creeping just under 100% because people are having to actually accept one offer. What's going on? It's crazy. I only got one offer. What is this? Days on market continues to climb. We had a huge jump up last month that we're like, okay, let's keep an eye on. You see it's starting to kind of correct itself. It's still much higher than what it was. We'll keep an eye on that as well to see as that creeps up. And it's continuing to creep up. Average days on market, ask any listing specialist, average days on market continues to creep up.
Still overall.
Yep, so this is year-over-year numbers. On the bottom, the top is month-over-month numbers. So our big thing I like to look at is the median sold price, median sales price. It's the third one down, year-over-year. So we're still up about 8.43% year-over-year. So if you sold a home this time last year, you're still getting almost 10% more. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I understand that you're looking at a price correction and it's not something you want to do, but if we lower it by $15,000, we're still above the threshold of last year, right? We're still doing better than if you sold your home last year. Like, we're still in a good spot to sell your home, but let's let's get a little bit above below this market here, so we're not chasing the market down. Otherwise, we'll be chasing the market down. Okay, last little thing I want to highlight, sales. 372, last year 536, difference of 30%. Year over year, we're down 10%. 10% less homes sold across the board. This month, 30%. We were on pace at the beginning of the year. It's going to keep going. Probably this is going to continue to trend this direction. A lot less sales overall in our local area. Okay? How do you feel about yourselves now? Like just rip your hearts out? Alright, so here's the truth, right? It's like we could either run from this and just put our heads in the sand, or we could realize it's going to take double the activity to get the same results. We could look at our expenses and start cutting some things. We could maybe stop paying for some of those leads that we don't follow up with really good anyways, right? Get back to your database, become the economist of choice, let people know what's going on, let them know that it's still, believe it or not, a good time to buy. Talk to your lender, what kind of programs are coming out, because guess what, lenders aren't making money. What do they start doing when they don't make money?
Be creative.
And get creative. New programs will be coming out. I've already seen a bunch of new programs. First time buyer, do this. It's still better to buy right now than to rent, because rent prices are going crazy too.
Sure.
They're going crazy. So
They will come down slower.
yes, much slower. Okay, let's jump in. I'm going to be the quickest awards you all ever saw because we are already over by 5 minutes. So we're going to knock out some awards for August because there is still some great stuff we want to celebrate. I'll be fast. We'll give you all a woohoo, and then we'll move on. All right, so top listing agents, listings taken. We got Becky, Sherry, and Tiffany. Good job, Becky here too. Sherry, great job on the listing. Tiffany. All right, in second place, we got Mr. Maurer, Monica, Nico. Hey, congratulations. Nico's in here the whole time to make little comments, except when he gets an award. All right, in first place, we got Christine Meiser, Jessica Dixon, and Mike Watson with 5 listings taken. Tie? Come on, you can't tie. That's not fun. You gotta win.
Sorry.
All right, top individual agents, closed units. We got a bunch of people with 3 closed units for August. We got Anthony, Eric, Jacqueline, Jasmine, Jennifer, Romney, Becky, Rhonda, and Sherry. Great job, Sherry. And everybody else with the 3 closed units for the month. Not bad. In third place, we got Miss Leister, I'm pretending she's not married. Philemon and Zach. Great job, Philemon, on the 4 closed units. Not bad for a month. Second place, we got Mr. Watson with 5 closed units for the month. And first place, we got Miss Jessica Dixon with 9. Jessica's like, I don't care about no shit. Still close. It does feel lower with everyone's numbers on here this month. We could feel that. I've just seen it. It's crazy. Great job, Jessica. On top individual closed volume, we got Raquel Newton out there in Ridgecrest with 1 million in closed volume in 10th place. We got a lot of business. 9th place, we got Rhonda Arnold, 1.2, and Jackie at 1.2. 8th place, we got Jeff White. We're going quick here, guys. We got Jennifer Courts at 7th place. We got Mike Watson at 1.4 at 6th place. Wow, that's surprising. 5th place, we got Zach Sprague at 1.5. 4th place, Jasmine 1.6. Third place, Philemon with 1.61. Great job, Phil. And in second place, we got Rami with 1.7 and Jessica with 3.5. Crushing it. Get some water after this. And top GCI, we got Rhonda Arnold with 31,000. 10th place. They did top 10. Normally we do top 5 in a monthly, but that's okay. We'll go quick. Jasmine at 32,100. Man, let's look at that. If you made $30,000 in a month, you didn't even get in the top 10. That sucks. Sucks for you guys. Whoever got 10th or 11th place, I feel bad for you because that's a great month. Jasmine at 32,000. Jackie at 35,000. Becky with 38,000. Great job, Becky. Not in here.
Didn't say Diego.
Sixth place, we got Philmont at 40,000. Great job, Phil. Mike Watson at 40,000. Rami at 42. Jennifer at 42.6. And Christine at 43. And Jessica with 96.480. Hey, good job, Jess. You know, your team leader must be great. All right, top listings taken. I don't deserve any of that. Team Silva, 3 listings taken. Great job, John. Did John leave?
He left.
You know what, John? I thought we were friends. Second place, we got Ileana and the Chapel team. Mark's still here with 6 listings taken. And Plaskus with 13 listings taken. Great job, Tom Paul, closed units. Team Silva and Veronica with 3 closed units. Ileana with 5 closed units. And Plaskus and the Chapel team with 6 closed units. Great job, Mark. You guys seem to be behaving pretty good this last little few months. All right, closed volume. We got Veronica and Associates at 1.3. The Chapel team at 2.2. And I hit the wrong button. And the Plaskus team with 3.1 million. Great job, guys. And those GCI at 39,000. Ileana Dominguez. The Chapel team with 53,000. Great job, Mark. And the Plaskus team with 96,000. Almost caught Jessica by herself. Not quite. Great job, everybody. That was the quickest I've ever done rewards. We're 10 minutes late, like I promised you. Have a great rest of your day. Remember, we got Bold. So many of you have not signed up for the first step. It's free. If you're not going to that and you're like, that's fine, I'll survive this shift. Good luck. Go. Sign up now. All right. Thanks, guys. See you next week. You walked out when you said your name.
Yes, sir. The main punch is on you.
Since you're up.
Oh, yeah. When Mike Sparks, I'm going to go show you. When you go into command, in your pages, or there's something.
Congratulations. Brand new.
Actually, you can even do it in your app.
Yeah. Simon, Rick May from the permit service.
Oh, yeah. You haven't been there in a minute, huh?
He knows all.
I was out, but I came back yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Right.